Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the Champions Report, as we are going to do the WBO, the World Boxing Organization. We're going to cover all belts from 122 all the way to heavyweight and the champions that hold them. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So this is the first Champions Report of 2024. I do them every 2 months. So basically it ends with 6 installments by the end of the year of the Champions Report. And, you know, this one will be any news and all that on all the titles and results from, like I said, each division from 122 all the way to heavyweight. So let's jump right into it. Look at the 122-pound super bantamweight title, which is currently held by the reigning WBO and undisputed champion Naoya Inoue, the Monster. We know that Inoue has a fight almost finalized with his WBC mandatory challenger and former two-division champion Luis Nery. These two guys are almost for sure going to fight next. They're just trying to arrange the arena. It looks like Monday, May 6th is going to be when these two guys collide for the world title, which is right before, or which is right after my next Champions Report. So I will give a prediction on that fight once it's finalized and good to go, but also that week before the fight, I will be releasing a Champions Report discussing, you know, my result, who I think is going to win and all that stuff. Next, at 126 featherweight, the reigning and undefeated champion there is Rafael Espinosa. Espinosa, still no news on what he's doing next. You know, it's still up in the air. I know I had mentioned at the beginning of the year, it's pretty much the same news. There's been no clear direction on what Espinosa is doing next. Kind of makes sense. He's only just over 3 months shy, or well, 2 months shy of a Fight of the Year candidate against Robeisy Ramirez, you know, in which he captured the title in, I think it was early to mid-December. So, you know, he's still recovering from that fight. I do believe by the next Champions Report, we will have a determination about what he's going to do, whether it's a rematch with Robeisy Ramirez or if he's going to have to make a mandatory defense, because the last time a mandatory defense was made of this title was, well, a mandatory fight was ordered was when Isaac Dogboe defeated, was when Robeisy Ramirez defeated Isaac Dogboe for the vacant title in April of last year, 2023. Ramirez made 2 optional defenses, the second against Espinosa when he lost. So I do believe that the WBO, it's likely they could order a mandatory fight against #1 contender Arnold K-Guy. But we haven't heard anything concrete on that. That's just speculation, but I do believe there's a chance that it's going to be a mandatory fight against K-Guy, or it's going to be a rematch with Ramirez next. Hopefully we find out very soon, and I definitely think we'll know by the next Champions Report. Next, at 130 super featherweight, the reigning champion there is Emmanuel Navarrete of Mexico. Now, we found out that Navarrete is going to be returning, almost for sure going to be returning. He has a fight that is nearly finalized for him to move up to lightweight and challenge for the WBO lightweight title. What does that mean for the junior lightweight or super featherweight title at 130? We really don't know. What I do believe is going to happen, because we have an eliminator coming up between former world title challenger Liam Wilson, who's #2 in the WBO right now, and former two-division world champion Oscar Valdez. They're colliding on March, I believe it's March 23rd or 30th on ESPN, with the winner to be the mandatory challenger. I do believe that they're going to make this an interim title fight. And once Navarrete, if he captures the belt at 135, he would likely give up the belt at 130, and then the winner of Wilson and Valdez would get upgraded to champion. And then have to make a mandatory defense, likely against current #1 contender Albert Bell. But we'll see. But that's what I believe is going to happen. I think it's going to happen within the next month. And that interim fighter, final eliminator right now. I wouldn't be. I'm not going to be surprised if it goes either way. You want to favor the veteran and Oscar Valdez, but I do believe the way Liam Wilson looked last time, he's the bigger man. I do believe he's got a serious shot of defeating Valdez. So we'll see what happens in March. Then at 135, the title is still vacant, but we know that #1 ranked contender Dennis Berianchek is going to fight current junior lightweight champion at 130 and 3-division world champion Emmanuel Navarrete, who's going to challenge to become a 4-division world champ, as he'll challenge for the vacant title against Berianchek. The fight has not been finalized as of yet. They're still trying to decide on the date and venue, but I really am excited to see Navarrete move up to a 4th weight class to try to win a world title. If that fight happens before the next Champions Report at the end of April, I'm making a prediction right now that I believe Navarrete will get a decision victory over Berianchek to become a 4-division world champ. So we'll see. Next at 140, junior welterweight, the reigning champion there is Teofimo Lopez. Lopez returned on February 8th and took on slick southpaw Jermaine Ortiz. It was kind of a back and forth chess match, so to speak, and it wasn't the most entertaining bout, but Lopez got out of there with a close, controversial decision in this one, and remained champion unimpressively. That was an optional defense right there, and most people feel that Lopez now is probably going to have to make a mandatory defense against his #1 ranked contender Arnold Barbosa Jr. I believe that's going to be ordered by the WBO, and Lopez is going to have to do it. We'll see what he decides to do once the fight is ordered, or if he's just going to decide to fight him anyways, because at the very least, we know Barbosa comes straight forward and throws punches, and is there to be hit. And Lopez has made some serious mistakes lately fighting these slick southpaws like Ortiz and Sandor Martin. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully we have some information on what Lopez is going to do next before the next Champions Report. 147 welterweight, the reigning undefeated and unified world champion is Terrence Bud Crawford. Crawford still has not decided what he's doing next. I think he's waiting around for Canelo's next fight to be finalized, and then I think he's going to punch his ticket to move up to 154. That's what I believe he's going to do. But I still believe there's a chance he stays at 140, at 147 and defends his title against somebody. We don't know who as of yet. Most guys would be willing to fight him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he invites Teofimo Lopez up now and whips his ass. But I really don't think he wants that fight, especially after the way Lopez looked in his last fight. So right now I'm leaning towards Crawford is probably gonna fight somebody else in his next one, and I still believe he's moving up to 147. In that instance, if he moves up to 147, if he moves up to 154, I believe the title will go vacant, and #1 contender Giovanni Santillan would likely have to fight I forget the guy's name. He's the #3 contender now, because #2 contender Cody Crowley is moving on to fight Jerome Boots Ennis for the IBF title next. So that's what hopefully we hear something on Crawford and that title very, very soon. Next at 154, Tim Tszyu is still your reigning and undefeated champion, but Tszyu is returning on March 30th in a non-title fight at 155, as he's going to take on former unified welterweight champion Keith One-Time Thurman. Now, a lot of people disappointed the title's not on the line, but the WBO would not rank Thurman as a challenger in their top 10 at 154 or top 15. So that's why they're meeting at the catchweight at 155, and Tszyu's title will not be on the line. Now, following that fight, I do believe that the WBO could order Tszyu to make a mandatory defense. Right now, his #1 contender is Josh Kelly, with Erickson Lubin at #2 and Xander Zayas at #3. I could see Josh Kelly getting a shot, but while Tszyu's fighting Keith Thurman, I also believe there's a chance that the WBO could order Josh Kelly to fight Erickson Lubin or Xander Zayas in that respective spot to earn the mandatory. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully we have some more news on the 154-pound title and Tim Tszyu by the next Champions Report. Next is 160 middleweight. The reigning undefeated and unified champion is Janibek Alamanhalai. Excuse me one second. Janibek has not yet announced his next fight. I still think he's trying to get Chris Eubank Jr. in the ring, but I really do believe there's a multitude of options for him now. I do believe that the IBF or the WBO could order a mandatory fight, because ever since he's been champion, and he's been champion since about October, November area of 2022, Janibek has not made a mandatory defense. He's wanted to, but they fell to the wayside. He made one optional defense against Steve Butler last year, and then he went on and attempted to unify belts against IBF champion Vicente Gualtieri. So he has not made a WBO mandatory defense, but his number one contender is the tall Hamza Shiraz from the United Kingdom, who just destroyed Liam Williams in one round. Does Bob Arum want to risk his boy right now against Shiraz? Will the WBO order that title fight? We shall see. That's going to be very interesting to see. For his IBF title, there's a guy named Radovan. He's the highest rated challenger at number 3 in the IBF right now. So, gonna be interesting to see. I also do believe there's like an outside chance that Bob Arum might pay Shane Mosley Jr. to get in the ring with Janibek. And I think Chris Eubank Jr. is also an option. So, I do believe we're gonna find out by the next Champions Report what Janibek is gonna do next. Then at 168 super middleweight, the reigning WBO and undisputed champion is Canelo Alvarez. Well, it's been a juggle with Canelo, but what we do know is that Canelo has split ways with the PBC. He wanted to fight Jermall Charlo. The PBC did not want to honor that fight with his average $35 million payday. And so Canelo and the PBC decided to part ways out of the 3-fight deal that Canelo signed. Canelo looks like he's going to be coming back to Matchroom and DAZN. And right now there's talks that it's very likely he's going to fight his WBO number 1 ranked contender, undefeated former junior middleweight champion Jaime Munguia, as Munguia is coming off of that big TKO victory over John Ryder. So I believe that's going to be the fight that Canelo does next in an all-Mexican battle on May 4th. If that is the case, then I will be giving my prediction on the fight on my next Champions Report, which happens right at the end of April, before May right there. So we'll see. 175, a light heavyweight. The reigning WBO and unified champion is Arthur Beterbiev. Well, it's here. We know Beterbiev is returning June 1st to defend his 3 light heavyweight titles and attempt to grab a 4th one as he challenges for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world in a unification bout against undefeated WBA champion Dimitri Bivol. Big time fight right here. Undisputed is on the line. I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be a good one. I will give my prediction on this fight at the next Champions Report that takes place at the end of April, beginning of May. Again, I cannot wait to see it on June 1st on DAZN pay-per-view. 200 cruiserweight. The title is still currently vacant, but we know that this belt will go on the line on Saturday, May 18th, and on the DAZN pay-per-view undercard of the Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury undisputed title fight that takes place Jesus, I'm sorry guys, I just drew a blank. I went to the IBF belt. The WBO cruiserweight title, I'm sorry, at 200 pounds, is still currently held by reigning champion Chris Billum Smith of the United Kingdom. Now we know Billum Smith is going to fight his WBO mandatory challenger Richard Riakporhe, the undefeated fighter, in a rematch. These two guys fought years ago. Riakporhe has a split decision victory over Billum Smith, the only loss of Billum Smith's career. This is a big time rematch between these two. I hope that this fight should get finalized and could very well take place before May. If it does, going out on a limb, I'm giving a slight edge to Riakporhe, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Smith retains the title. We'll see what happens. We'll see when it gets announced and when it's going to take place. And finally, the WBO heavyweight title is currently held by the reigning undefeated unified champion Alexander Usyk. We know Usyk is going to return Saturday, May 18th to defend his WBO and light heavyweight, unified light heavyweight title against reigning undefeated WBC champion Tyson Fury. This is a banger as they will attempt to unify all belts and determine undisputed. I can't wait to see it. I will give my prediction on this fight at the next Champions Report. But again, that's on Saturday, May 18th. Can't wait to see it. So that's it. That's my WBO Champions Report on the World Boxing Organization. The first installment of 2024 here at the end of February, heading into March. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.